So you want to be a dungeon master?
So, you want to dungeon master.
So you want to be a DM?
Name some feats, okay? Feats.
So you want to be a DM?
That's great. We're here to help. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Justin. This week, we're cracking open the long list of monsters to discuss how the typing of monsters can help dungeon masters. This classification system, although at times arbitrary, can lend itself to a variety of advantages, from world building to encounter creation, from lore dropping to creating backstories for characters. We're going to cover it all. So why don't we just get into it? But
Let's do it.
first,
But first,
what's going to be about first? What about, I was looking at the monster types and I was like, weirdest combinations, go. Like, there's just, what is the fucking craziest thing I can think of first and foremost? And that is an ooze dragon. What does it look like?
it
What
looks.
does it look like? Is it just like a plasmoid dragon that's just a jelly dragon? Or
I
are we
really do like the thought of just a big jelly dragon. It can't fly. I know that. That's for a fact. It can't fly.
Okay.
I will give
Okay.
it either or both of a burrow and a swim speed.
Okay.
But it's gelatinous. There's no way that the structure, you need firm structure to fly. Like the birds have bones in their wings to help make it rigid. Their tail feathers, their stabilizers. No way that's happening with ooze.
I hear you.
So definitely in the ground or the water, that's fine. Ooze, it gets an acid breath. I would give it a cone acid breath of some sort, and also engulf abilities like
Yeah,
most
dude.
oozes.
You
It's gotta
gotta
have
think
the
gelatinous cube dragon.
right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like it's just swallowing motherfuckers, and then you can still see them inside them.
Right.
They're-
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, Carl, and he's just being melted. That is dope as hell. I also love the idea, and this would kind of go without saying, but like because it's ooze, being able to squeeze into tight spaces, like you close the door quickly, you're like, close the doors, and then he's just like goes under.
Bubbling.
Yeah. Ooh. Scary.
Uh-oh.
I do love that so much.
I also I have no way of ever drawing this in like what is in my head right now of what this thing looks like, but it's the most adorably terrifying thing you've ever seen in your life. It's very dragon shaped, but big swoopy, like there's no angles. It's all rounded
Globs.
edges. It's all just
like lava lampy kind of.
Yeah, and it's
Like just
but the face is just he's got big old cheeks and he's got that little
snout.
the mouth thing and the eyes, and it's got little wingy things.
Yeah.
But you can see through it, and maybe googly eyes. I think googly eyes would work really good there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I love that. I love that. Googly eyes is an interesting note. Let's end it on that. And
I think it's the silliest looking thing that absolutely could murder you and your whole party. It's got way too many hit points. It engulfs people. It's
probably resistant
it's terrifying.
to a ton of things.
Yeah. No, it's like
Yeah.
it looks derpy as fuck, but also will kill you.
What about also you could go the extra mile and like technically gelatinous cubes have that ability of when they're like motionless that they're almost like invisible, like you can only see the things that are being digested inside of it or whatever. If it had that ability,
scary,
just a silent stalker.
Oh god,
in the dungeon,
and then just, hey guys.
I don't know if it needs to sound like
it does though. It really does though.
I don't know if it needs to sound like that. Okay, but what about
you don't think it needs to, but it does need to.
What about an undead ooze? What about undead ooze?
how would you do like undead slime mold? Like how it's not the existence of an ooze, like the life processes of an ooze are so
Life,
different
like,
that
yeah,
it's hard to see what undeath would be like in that.
you're not wrong. I think when I think of it, I'm kind of just like making that bridge of logic
Oh, it's
with
a
magic
mhm,
and kind of just fitting it into being like, it looks kind of like the bad guy from Fern Gully, Tim Curry.
right. I do
And
like the idea of it being just a
it
puddle,
just a basic puddle. Because
just
I'm
kind of like
picturing this like black ooze that
like
is
a
like not the same exact look of black pudding famous
no,
ooze from D&D, but like more stringy and more like gaunt and kind of creepy and I don't know, more even though it's rounded, it's still like angular and it like creeps out and infects things and like necrosis kind of vibes causes other things
yeah.
to this the way that a ghast can like suck your strength score down.
Hmm.
That kind of vibe is what I'm
I think,
picturing.
yeah, yeah. I think that definitely something about the process of death to life, because like when you kill a gelatinous cube or whatever, most of the time I describe it as just kind of losing coherence and falling to the ground.
Hmm.
So an undead ooze would look like a puddle in a cave or something like that until you try to walk through it, and then it like reaches up and grabs you and pulls
It's
you in.
more
It's
viscous
like an ambush
or
predator
less
type of thing.
viscous. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotcha. I gotcha. That could work. Appearing as a normal body of water
Hmm.
and then
And then
striking.
actually, yeah, yeah. And I
I like
do like
that.
the idea of it turning things undead also. So you could have like these precursors of like undead bats or undead, other creatures in
Insects or something. Yeah.
yeah, inside the cave. And like, why is all this stuff becoming undead? Oh, it's because this weird puddle is grabbing shit and eating it and turning it undead.
Maybe it does have a symbiotic relationship to a plant being where it
Okay.
is the liquid of the pitcher plant kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's
Uh-huh.
like a
Uh-huh.
symbiotic relationship. Like
Yeah.
the plant gets some of the nutrients, it gets a safe place to just chill so that it's not targeted by larger oozes or something. I
Hmm.
like that idea. That's very fun. Okay, gang, have you checked out the Patreon? Why haven't you checked out the Patreon? What the heck? It's so good. There's so many fun things on there. Go check it out immediately, if not sooner. If you
Hmm.
can't do it sooner, then do it immediately. That's my
Right.
point. Right? And
Got
remember
it.
this, procrastinate now. Don't put it off.
Oh no.
Never
Oh,
put off your procrastination. You must procrastinate immediately.
did you just hack my ADD? Did you just did you just hack my brain? Dude,
Think about it.
dude,
Think about it.
dude.
And
Anyway,
more of that over at the Patreon, gang. Go
yeah.
check out the Patreon, link in the description. All kinds of amazing stuff for just following us for free, but even at the tiers, which are so incredibly affordable for what you're getting. And it helps us continue to do what we're doing. So,
Mhm.
with that, let's jump into the meat of the episode.
Let's do it.
So, today we're talking about monster types,
Oh yeah.
right? Talking about monster types, there's 14
Hmm.
different types and sort of categories of monsters
Right.
throughout D&D as a TTRPG system. Now, obviously, this classification of monsters, although specific to D&D, has become quite pervasive in like pop culture and even like just the way that like some people think of these creatures.
Yeah.
I know that sometimes they can combat with what we think of from folklore or this or that. A great example, and we'll go over these in greater detail as we go along, but the unicorn in
Hmm.
D&D, a celestial. And while I'm not saying that every piece of folklore out there doesn't maybe connects the unicorn to some celestial thing, there are also some that maybe would consider it closer to the Fae
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's like different interpretations of folklore, and D&D is just going, well, we can only call it one category. So
Right.
there's no dual type Pokemon here, right? It's you're one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
you have to
yeah.
ask yourself, like, are kobolds technically under the dragon category or humanoid category? Because they're kind of both.
Yeah.
And you can
But
kind of make an argument for both, but what does D&D consider them?
what
That's a
does
different
the
question.
stat
So
block say? Yeah.
everything we're going to be talking about today with typing is a very interesting discussion in the sense that it's similar to like alignment, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
guidelines. They're
Yeah.
guidelines at best. You're just kind of using them as inspiration, stepping off points
Mm-hmm.
for a deeper dive into creativity and like what you're trying to build here
Yeah.
into
Yeah. I mean,
storytelling.
that
It's
really
not
is it.
rigid.
Yeah. And the lore of the creatures and stuff can be nothing's really set in stone, although these are basically like kind of the jumping off point. I'm going to be giving like really short, sweet descriptions of what they are in a very broad sense. But that's just kind of how it starts. And each creature also inside of these subclasses, or not subclasses, but each one of these types, each creature has kind of its own lore also that merits deep diving if you're still looking for creative stuff. Like, aberrations, just to kick us off, aberrations are generally alien type entities. These are from either another plane, another world, something like that.
Mhm.
And examples of this are like your mind flayers and stuff, which definitely look like space aliens
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But also
Oh
like
yeah.
beholders. Beholders are
Hmm.
aberrations, and those are also crazy beasts, but they're more from the Underdark, and they have their own type of lore of how they came to be, as opposed to the mind flayers, who canonically, I guess, in the D&D world have like did used to like control everything, and then the Gith fought back and broke it all apart, and like there's deep lore about all of these different creatures and stuff that are definitely a lot to draw from if you're looking for stuff to write from.
Yeah. Yeah.
um mhm,
Absolutely. I mean, nailed it on the head. It truly is like just another place to find more inspiration
mhm.
and to build off of. And because we're drawing directly from a part of the system, like D&D famously is the system where you got to get the 3 books.
Right.
And one of them is the monster manual. And for
Mhm.
our audio listeners, number 1, check out the YouTube gang. We have video now. But also, I was doing bunny ears during that. So like the 3 books that you have to buy, bunny ears. One of them is the monster manual, and therefore it's super important, bunny ears. And so audio listeners, I love you. But check out the YouTube. It's awesome. So like that is one of those things that you can take it or leave it,
Mhm.
but it does make it a lot easier, right? To like immediately work into the system because the stat blocks are right there. It's part of this system.
Right.
You don't have to homebrew. There are incredible stats out there that you can just use, or even just use them to tweak slightly to
Mhm.
better fit your situation and the party that you're building encounters for. But because of that, especially if you're using any of the settings from D&D, if you're
Right.
using Eberron or Forgotten Realms or fucking, I don't know, Ravenloft, whatever, Barovia, a lot of these things will fit right in
Yeah.
because it's all like
It's
interwoven, the
written. Yeah.
cosmologies and the mythologies of it all. But you don't have to use those. You can build and twist and do whatever.
Absolutely.
There's an important note. I put it lower below, but I'm gonna just say it right off the jump. You can ignore monster types for the sake of your story, right? If you find a dope monster and it's listed as an aberration, but you're like, for one reason or another, you're like, but they're in a graveyard and I wanted to find the stat block for the boss undead. It's like
Right.
sick. Make that mind flayer undead and just twist it a little bit. It doesn't have tentacles here. It's just a skeleton that has a wreathed in flames. I don't know.
Right.
And then just go for it from there. It still has a mind's ability. It still can eat people's fucking skulls. Why not?
Hmm.
It just
Yeah.
looks a little different. I think that's fine.
Yeah. So let's run down the list real quick and then we'll double back and
Oh yeah.
get into like the world building stuff. So aberrations we just talked about, basically aliens or otherworldly creatures. On the other side, beasts. Beasts are the non-human creatures that are part of the natural world. Some of them are magical, but they're generally low in intelligence. We're talking like regular animals like horses and bats and dinosaurs and you know, wolves. Those are beasts, the kind
Yeah.
of natural animals that you would expect to see kind of in the world. And that also includes some of the magical animals that are unique to D&D. But if generally, if it's an animal you can find here, it's a beast.
Yeah. I
Um,
usually like the most extreme example of a beast is like a dinosaur.
yeah, yeah,
Like a
yeah.
T-Rex is
Um,
considered a beast for all intents and purposes.
right. But then also like a moorbounder is a beast, and that's a giant cat
True.
ox.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Fuck those guys. More about
moving
hater.
um getting to the next one, we're talking about celestials. These are kind of your angelic beings from the upper planes, typically good by nature. Obviously, do whatever you want with alignment. We don't give a shit. But yeah, generally, angels, quaddles, pegasi, those kind of angelic, floofy, bright, white, shining knight types of people. Um, we then have the constructs. These are entities that are created by hand or by people. So like golems, modrons from Mechanus are also
Hmm.
constructs. Pretty much anything like a mechanical robot kind of or
Yeah. It
magical,
just created from non-living material.
right? That
Because it could
basically,
be like a wood blight counts as a construct, I think
right,
sometimes, or like certain kinds. Some constitute as plants. That's a little different, but like some are very distinctly constructs.
right,
Like I think certain like ice golems even will be sometimes closer to constructs than elementals and stuff. So it's like,
right.
because I think even like a
Mhm.
flesh golem is technically a
It's a construct, yeah.
is a construct. Yeah, even
Mhm.
just
Yeah, so
Frankenstein's monster.
it's just a creature that is created artificially. Um, Next up, obviously, we got to talk about dragons. We have a whole episode on dragons. Go check it out.
Go check it
Large,
out.
powerful reptilian creatures. This includes both the true dragons and the wyverns. And basically, if it's a
Dragon
big
turtle.
scaly thing, yeah. That's a dragon. Uh,
That's a dragon.
it's a dragon. Uh, The next one is the elemental. These are creatures from the elemental planes. Azer, genies, invisible stalkers, naturally fire, ice elementals, those kind of things. If one of the ones that come directly from the elemental plane that embody those elements.
Hmm. Yep.
Yep. Then we got the Fae. These are creatures of magic and that are generally associated with the Feywild. They generally have a pretty strong connection with nature, or sometimes the outer planes. We're talking dryads, we're talking satyrs, those kinds of things that we would. These are kind of like the mythological beasts from like Celtic folklore, is kind of
Hmm.
where I would place
That
these.
general
That
vibe.
general
Yeah.
area vibe of their particular,
Germanic,
the pixies,
sort of
the
Celtic.
stuff
Yeah.
like that, where it's got the little
The
wings and the
Fae.
elves and the fae.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Uh,
The word
yeah,
that they
the
stole
word that
from
they use, the fae.
folklore.
Yeah, the word that they stole from that. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
moving on. Fiends. These are
The word that they
uh
stole from beans
yeah, fiends. Absolute fiends.
from the
Oh
Old
wait, no,
Testament.
we're moving on to fiends, not their fiends. Although we were talking about fiends. Uh, Native to the lower planes and generally evil by nature. This is demons and devils, the Rakshasa. Um, yeah, pretty much the
Yeah.
lower, the opposite of celestials is fiends.
Hell yeah.
Uh, that's about it. Giants, they're human-like but larger than humans, usually by quite a bit. This is obviously your true giants like ice giants, cloud giants, stuff like that, but also ogres and trolls. Those are also considered giant types.
Giant kin. That's
Giant,
why
yeah.
you'll notice a lot times, like when they do that, you'll be like, a troll, that's crazy. It looks so different. It's got green skin. Well, but it's like they show sometimes the ancestry if they don't explain it directly in the lore section. What they'll do sometimes is in the language section, you'll notice that like sometimes a troll can speak giant and goblin or something like
Mhm.
that because they're like low key related to both.
Right. And then moving on to the humanoids. Humanoids are people. That's for the most part, all of our bipeds, with a few natural magical abilities,
Sentient.
sentient,
Yeah, like
human.
far enough along in a civilization that there's a level of like hierarchy and
Mhm,
society because it
mhm,
ranges from like we mentioned kobolds at the top. Kobolds can fall under humanoids all the way to gnolls,
uh-huh,
frog-like people. Like a lot of times you'll see
bullywugs.
even in like a third-party book where they'll introduce like otter folk.
Right.
Those are listed as it'll say like humanoids parentheses otter folk because it's a
Yeah.
very specific type of humanoid, which is
Right,
why
right, right.
if you go back to 2014 Ranger, favored enemy, you got to choose monster types.
Mhm.
If you chose humanoids, because it's so vague, you had to choose two specific like species. You had to
Right.
choose gnolls and orcs. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Continue.
Anyway, next one, monstrosities. These are kind of our old world myths. These are unnatural
Monsters.
creatures from a different variety of origins. Some of them are like curses or magical experimentation, stuff like that. But the creatures themselves are minotaurs, owlbears, kind of the chimera-ish type monsters. It's pretty much a catch-all category for monsters that don't really fit into other stuff. Monstrosity is like the final. Oh, it's not news. It's not a giant. It's not a this. Okay, well then it's a monstrosity, and we're gonna move on with our day. Um, Speaking of oozes are gelatinous creatures with no real fixed forms. Obviously, black puddings, gelatinous cubes. There's other oozes that
Ochre
I'll
jelly.
there we go. There we go. There's another one. Yeah.
Didn't we
The
use in Sphinx City? There was poop ooze. Remember
Oh,
the poop
lovely. Yeah.
monsters?
Hmm.
It was manure ooze in a greenhouse. There
Hmm.
was a fight,
Hmm.
and they fought against poop, and one of them lit it on fire. And guess what? Methane explodes, baby. So go watch Sphinx City season 2, available on our YouTube.
And the next one is the plants.
Oh, there were plants, baby.
There were
There
plants
were
there too.
plants.
Yeah. This is vegetable and fungal creatures. Shambling mounds, myconids.
No fruits though.
No fruits, no
That's
vegetable
Faye,
or
baby.
no vegetables, yes. I
Sorry, I'm
can't
allowed
make
to
that
say that.
joke.
I'm allowed to
Moving
say that.
uh undead creatures are is our next category. Mhm, mhm.
I'm laughing at my
They
joke for 5 minutes.
they were undead creatures were once alive, they died, and then are reanimated by whatever is the flavor of the week there. That's ghosts, specters, vampires, zombies, pretty much anything that has that little undead whatever. Yeah.
Breaking the circle of
And
life.
breaking it. And I think that is
Mm,
it. Yes,
very
we've hit the
good.
bottom of the list. So that's
That's
all
all
of
of
our
them.
types.
That's all of them. Now it's an
And that's all
interesting
we have
thing.
for this week. So
I always, yeah, all done. And what I love about lists like this in a game like D
mhm.
and D is I will give them credit. They do a decent job of including most things. Where I'm like, for the schools of magic, for example, there was a day where I was like, how would I add other than like a technomancy school of magic or
Right.
something? I can't think of anything that I would add. Every time I think of adding a new spell, even I'm like, that would easily fall under one of the types. of
Right.
schools of magic. This, I kind of feel similarly. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
think of any monster, like just off the top of your head. And because of the existence of monstrosities, truly, they
There's
have
a
the
category
catch-all
for
category where
everything.
you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess Jersey Devil would fall under fiends. It can fall under elementals, I guess, if you really leaned into all the vaping. But, and then monstrosities, of course, like there's so much you could, it could be undead if you wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
like, you could make it an archfey, like it could be a fey, like so you could do it in a million different ways. But
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting because if I create a Jersey Devil, right,
Right.
stat block,
Yep.
and I assign to you or other homebrewers and creators, and I
Mm-hmm.
go, hey, I need you to make me a stat block for the Jersey Devil. It's a fey. And then to the next person, I say, I need you to make me a stat block for the Jersey Devil. It's a fiend. Hey, buddy, I need you to make me a stat block for the Jersey Devil. It's I don't know, a monstrosity.
Mm-hmm.
Each person is going to make something pretty different. There's going to
Absolutely.
be the backbone of the fact that it's the Jersey Devil. So you know, the research, the Googling will all kind of find some similar stuff depending on your
Mm-hmm.
different work styles, but that's a
Right.
style thing. But because of just that inkling of in my brain, Faye makes me think of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
That's going to guide you, which is what we're kind of talking about today, is how these types, even though there's the part of our brain, the conscious part that's like, these don't really matter that much. Who really
Right.
cares? The stat blocks are stat blocks. You can change a monster from a rhinoceros into an elemental rhinoceros by just adding fire damage and saying that it's on fire. Done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Easy as
Yeah.
pie. But if you use them and you lean into some of it, or even your world's interpretation of these types, maybe like in Sphinx City, we played that aberrations were something that the normal person has no concept of. In a
Right.
D&D game, you might expect an adventurer to be like, oh, mind flayers. Even if I haven't encountered them, I've heard of them. I'm familiar with
Mm-hmm.
illithids.
Mm-hmm.
But in Sphinx City, it was like canon that they're insane. It's the same as somebody in today just being like, I was abducted and I was probed, and you're kind of like, I don't trust the US government. And I know that they came out with saying that they found aliens and all that kind of shit, but I fucking the idea that this guy was
Mm-hmm.
probed. Oh no, man, I don't really believe you. And that's how it kind of is in Sphinx City, right? Like people
Mm-hmm.
don't think that they're real, even though D&D wise, we know that they're real. That was specific to that setting. But I just chose a aberrations because they are the alienish group
Mm-hmm.
of monsters in D&D. They are the most abstract and crazy ones. Usually they're like the catch-all for ones where you're like, well, this is a fucking nightmare. And it
Right.
doesn't
Right.
really
Right.
fit into a ton of these other ones. It's and then you go, well, monstrosity or aberration, but because it's so batshit crazy and abstract, you're
Mhm.
like, it's an
Yeah, yeah,
aberration.
yeah. Aberrations
Uh,
are also your like Cthulhu-esque eldritch beings.
yeah, isn't and also flumps, I think. Isn't a
Flump.
flump an aberration, maybe?
I would love it if it is, and I'm gonna find out right now.
Oh man. I have the D&D Beyond list up right
Flump
now.
is an aberration.
Hell
Absolutely it
yeah, I
is.
found it. Okay, sick.
I
There
love
it
it.
is. And the thing right above it, flesh meld. Flapjack the Flump, Fair, Idrake, Eyemonger, Etten, Saramorph, Jesus Christ. Okay, so a ton. Um,
Yeah.
Now it is important to note that there are spells and subclass and class abilities that are very specific about monster types, right? Like
Mhm.
I think you had a um when you played in public domains, you had a
Yes.
thing. I don't know if you used it, but it was like a paladin channel divinity where you could like abjure the enemy or something. Maybe it wasn't abjure the enemy, but it was the one where there was like extra planar beings could like just kind of fuck off
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
because you were a very specific type of paladin.
mhm.
Oath of the Watchers, I believe it was. But
Yes.
regardless, there are things like that. Protection from evil and good will say this protects you from fae, celestials, fiends, undead, da da da, whatever,
Hmm.
stuff like that, right? If you have uh detect good and evil, if you have divine sense or something like that, if you have any kind of smiting ability or something that says if this creature is undead, it does an extra 1d8 of damage. Like you need to know those things, right? So like there are important mechanical reasons for these categories, and that
Hmm.
should be recognized. That's why when you are as a DM, if you're going to take this mind flayer and change it from an aberration to an undead, I need you to honor that. I need you to stick to it so that when the paladin says, "Is this undead?" you can't just then at that moment revert back to, "Well, it's technically an aberration that is on, so I'm gonna say it's no, 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 no. You said it's
No,
an
yeah, yeah,
you in your
yeah, yeah,
heart
yeah.
of hearts said it's an undead. Fucking do it."
Abjure
You
the
know?
extra planar.
Yeah. There you go.
Aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend. That's
Yeah.
a
A lot
really
of them.
broad. It's a really broad category.
A lot of them. A lot of them. And so things like that are important. It's also
Mhm.
why you have to have things like the reason that these types are important, part of that like understanding of the gist of each one is spells also like banishment. Like, is
Mhm.
this creature from this plane or not?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
Having a basic understanding.
yeah.
Obviously,
So
you always have the privilege of being able to just like Google things in the moment.
mhm.
If for some reason they banish your Knoll captain, you're like, fuck, where are Knolls from? And for some reason you don't want to ask the players, which number one, ask the player. Assuming you're playing with like upstanding people, they're not going to bullshit you. You
Right,
know, they might, as a joke, I've had players do that and be like, no, 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 definitely this human is from the hells and send him
right,
back forever. And you're like,
and
no,
he's
no, no.
gone.
Ha ha ha, cheeky joke. That's fine. We love a cheeky joke. But Uh, so I do think like having an understanding of where the planes are and being
Mhm.
able to just like Google where are Knowles from, and then you can see, okay, they're from the material plane. You're good to go. They're gonna come back in a minute.
Right.
Um, and things
Whereas
of
with
that
a
nature.
Fae, could go kind of either way. Like there could be a world where the Fae gets banished to the Fae Wild for good, but also I think there are Fae type creatures that are from the material plane too, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that's a genuine world building question. Like
Right.
that's a question for the world builder. And I think if you're going by like things like let's say Forgotten Realms, I think
Hmm.
you would be correct because I there are definitely hags that are
Right.
like fucking Feywild through and through, and then there are hags that are like, no, I'm just a creepy old woman who lives in the fucking woods in the
And
Evermoors or something, or I
right.
live I don't know, near the
Right.
Icewind Dale or some shit like that, because
Hmm.
there's insane things on the material plane and the Forgotten Realms, right? So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. So with all of that in mind, let's go over all the different ways that we can use monster types to help us
Sure.
as dungeon masters so that other dungeon masters can think about things this way. This is just one way
Hmm.
to think about things.
Right.
Truly just nailing down you're going to be using monsters a ton, not just for combat. Obviously combat is like a big fucking part of it.
Hmm.
But you can also use monsters just to inhabit the wilds or outside of the towns or like in the descriptions of things.
Hmm.
Oh, that town far away that you guys heard about? Yeah, it's known for fill in the fucking blank. You know? So,
Hmm.
starting off with something like that, world building. How can monster types inspire and be used for the sake of world building?
Hmm. Um, So I think the one of the biggest things as far as using the monsters themselves for world building is kind of doing a little bit of a deep dive onto the lore of
Mhm.
those creatures.
Okay.
So we're kind of everything's in alphabetical order. So we're gonna beat this aberration horse till it's dead, and then we're gonna keep going.
Oh yeah.
But like the aberrations of like say we're talking about mind flayers because I think mind flayers is one of the easier ones to kind of
Mhm.
have a lore bite for.
Yeah.
Um like mind flayers themselves used to have a grip on all the whole of the material plane, and honestly, I think most of the planes themselves, the outer planes, and you know, those, maybe not the upper and lowers, but definitely the outer planes and stuff like that. They kind of had grown this big empire, and then the Gith had an uprising, killed off a bunch of mind flayers, took it back, and now they're constantly at war. Well,
Mm-hmm,
now,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
we have, if you want to go with Illithids, you could go, okay, well, now why are these mind flayers here in my setting as it stands right now? If you go and I want to use aberrations, I want to start exploring these extra planes and stuff like that. I want to, so I think, we go, all right, well, we have a mind flayer. Why is the mind flayer here? Okay, he needs some magic item in this town. The magic item, then you find out, could be a plane hopper, like the Illithid itself could have some kind of device for moving planes, because it would make sense for an
Mm-hmm.
Illithid who is a world, like a planes traveler, to have something like that on them, for then you to, if it would open up your world for planes hopping, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
so that's just kind of one way to work specifically mind flayers into your thing, or you can use the monster to progress the story into other worlds as well, or other
Yeah,
planes and stuff like that.
making
And
an extra planar,
that's
planes
kind of where I was
jumping.
getting at with that. Yeah, is like, you can use the monster's history of the fact that we know that there used to be planeswalkers. We know that they used to have all of this technology so they could quickly get between. Well, cool. That
Yeah,
means
yeah,
now
yeah.
you have a machine that can do it.
Yeah,
You know, you can put
absolutely.
whatever restrictions on the machine you want, but it would make sense that now is an in-world reason for you to have planes hopping, and not have to have somebody with the plane shift spell,
No doubt. Yeah, you could even give them, because I know in a lot of settings they'll mind flayers will sometimes pilot like Nautiluses, like
Mhm.
the giant, just like in Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. They
so
have
stuff like
spaceships
that
and
as
shit.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I do think aberrations are interesting. They have this alien otherworldliness to them. I
Hmm.
think that it suggests planes jumping, like you're bringing up. And I think another way of using it, instead of making them like the main character, in the way that the Mind Flayer, not main character, but you know what I mean, the
Yeah.
protagonist, but like the central focus of your aberration, you
Hmm.
could also make, if the main character is, let's say, like a conjuration expert or wizard, maybe
Hmm.
they've summoned these aberrations here to work on their behalf. So
Right.
then when you're in just a normal city and you're like, why the fuck are there spectators and nothics and cloakers
Yeah,
everywhere?
yeah.
And the, I don't know how to pronounce that. Cool, chul. Oh boy, what a word. Chuul. But anyway, they're the weird, like crab looking
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
insect boys. But yeah, like why are they there? And then you find
Hmm.
out, oh, it's because this guy can open portals and summon monsters here, and that's his specialty. And da 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 da.
Right.
Very cool way of doing things as well. Then you have like really powerful ones. Obviously, Mind Flayer is a great example. Also, the Aboleth is dope as hell.
Hmm.
Um, it's a very powerful, low level legendary monster. Like it's CR10, so it's not the lowest of levels, but in terms of legendary monsters, like it doesn't have any legendary resistances, but it has
Hmm.
legendary actions. It has lair actions. It has regional effects.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I do like that a lot. Um, but yeah, I just think, and then Aboleth, I like you mentioned going deep into the lore. Look up what the lair is like. Aboleth's lair in subterranean lakes or the rocky depths of the ocean, often surrounded by the ruins of an ancient fallen Aboleth city. Spends most of its existence underwater, surfacing occasionally to treat with visitors or worshippers. I mean, oh, there you go. That's setting idea right there. You could build around that. no problem. If you're trying to find an interesting monster to put in a watery location, you got one. And then you could figure out why that aberration is there or what have you. Moving on to beasts.
Yeah.
Beasts is a really interesting one because ordinarily what I would be doing is I would, in most circumstances, I'm already have the setting and I'm adding beasts into it.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
beasts are important they're so important in a non-combat sense. It's truly the set dressing. It's the ambiance of the situation. It's
Yeah.
the birds and the bees and the bugs buzzing as you're going through the swamp. It's the rooster crowing in the urban environment. It's the bats and the rats and the slimy little things in the underdark. It's like literally the flora and fauna of the situation. I mean, not fauna because that's plants. We'll get there, but because just a normal ass tree doesn't necessarily count as a plant monster, but like
Right.
even
Right.
a mouse counts as a monster in a in a D&D
In a
sense,
real
right?
technical sense, yeah.
It's 0 hit point thing, but
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm usually have the setting already, and then I go, which beasts can I use to populate this?
Yeah.
And most of the time, what I'm doing is I'm looking up real animals because most beasts are real animals. I know that there's some exceptions. Like
Mhm.
there are some like I forget what what is it called? That unicorn rabbit, Almirage. It's like a D&D thing,
Oh,
Almiraj,
yeah.
Almirage or something like that. I think
Yeah.
might be a beast, but even if it's not, but there are some like exceptions, of course. However, I do normally, other than dinosaurs, Axebeak, kind of an interesting one, constitutes as a beast. Um, Dire wolf, so you have dire animals in there and shit like that that count as beasts. I think, yeah, most of the time I'm genuinely like, especially when it's not a combat thing. I don't need stats because it's not
Yeah.
a combat thing. So who needs stats? So most of the time it's like, okay, what kind of environment are they in? What's the climate? What's the terrain? What's the vibes?
Mhm.
Oh, you're in a jungle? I'll just Google jungle animals. Oh, you're in the Arctic? I'll just Google Arctic animals.
Right.
And I'm good.
Yeah.
And then
And
if I want to make it more interesting, if there's a combat situation, if one of them is going to be used as a mount or something like that, if they're going to be in a combat sense, because maybe that's how I start the combat, where it's you guys come across this, just like the nature documentary we were talking about recently, you, me, and Josh, where it's like you guys come across this beautiful group of penguins. Oh, look at them all walking in a straight line, hobbling to and fro. So adorable. Seals! Oh no, seals are attacking. Now I need the stats for those seals because you guys will be attacking those seals, or at least preventing them from attacking the
Yeah.
killer whales, orcas. No, it keeps heightening. And then what eats the orcas? We don't know. Some kind
Oh
of ice
God,
beast.
people! It's people.
No, we're not on humanoids yet. We're gonna leave that for a little bit later. But I think if I was going to use beasts in a sense where I start with just the category of beasts and I have to do a little bit of world building only using beasts, my brain goes two places. Zoos, unfortunately,
Yeah.
or like a safari kind of thing, which makes me think of Pokemon Safari, catching Pokemon. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm also maybe thinking of pet dealers, things of that nature is kind of an interesting way of going about things. That's more for like an NPC or like a shop in a place. You
Right.
can specifically look at a beast and go, what shop would I make? Oh, a pet salesman, an exotic, a tiger king, if you will. But let's move on to celestials.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
celestials is an interesting one. I
mhm.
have strong thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts first.
Do you want to hear my thoughts on Celestials?
Yeah, are you
Uh,
pro or anti?
I'm
And remember,
ambivalent.
the Lord is watching, and so is Santa.
Celestials are a tool to be used.
How dare
It is
you?
just another classification of beast or monster or what have you. Um,
He
they
knows not
just
what he says.
they're simply more monsters. These ones come from different planes than the aberrations. They come from generally the higher planes. What most mythologies would consider the heaven region of space.
Hmm.
Um,
And who called
so
them the upper planes, right? Who's writing this history? That's what we
right,
got to ask
exactly. Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, yeah. The
That's what we got
winners.
to ask
The
ourselves.
winners. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. The map make always beware the map makers is what I say.
Yes. Yeah, and you can take that one. That's a little bit of
Yeah.
free advice from us.
It's a little
As opposed
interesting
to
when
the
people are
rest of
like,
the
oh, the
advice, which
Western
is
world. And
also
it's like,
free.
you're crazy, man. The Western world, the Eastern world, the Middle East. According to who, man? Everything is east and west of something. We talked about this recently.
We have
Anyway,
talked about it. Everything's
Celestials are from
west
the
somewhere.
bunny ears, upper planes. And
Yep.
so angel type beings, normally good natured, if you're going by alignment shit with monster stats and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, it's a little more loosey goosey in 2024, but in 2014, it was very much like, oh, a diva, good, lawful good, must be
Hmm.
forever. And you're like,
Yeah.
that's stupid. But yeah, obviously you can always have fun with that. One of the ways I would easily as a DM, because like sometimes you read these stats and you're like, damn, that's sick, dude. Planetar, solar, those are so cool. Unicorn, when are those ever going to show up? Because first of all, they always have like healing abilities and stuff, and that's
Hmm.
interesting. But when I'm going to put a CR21 solar on the side of the players, here's what you do: you just put some kind of, oh, they have a disease, or oh, they got cursed, or oh, they touched this cursed magic item and now it's like bracelets or something, and
Hmm.
now they're evil. And the players either have to like kill them or save them in some way, and now
Hmm.
you have them for combat. So I've done that a million times. You could also just do like the fallen angel bullshit kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's an easy trope to just follow into, where it's like, yeah, you're fighting a planetar and a diva, but it's because they fell and been they're like almost fiendish at this point.
Hmm.
So that's interesting. Coatls are really cool, actually. They're like flying snake kind of vibes, but they're powerful for what they are, at least. They're only a CR4, but they're very cool. Um, I think the upper planes are an interesting thing. Here are my strong thoughts, Taylor.
Hmm.
I don't think we've truly, as D&D, the company, like other than maybe like very old editions of stuff,
Hmm.
I can't think of a recent time in my lifetime, at least of my D&D career for the past like 8-10 years, of recognizing there just aren't a ton of stats for Celestials. I just feel like there's not a ton of options. And we also don't learn a ton about the upper planes. Like, of course, you
Yeah.
can go on Forgotten Realms wiki and you can like look up the upper planes and look up the Beastlands and the Elysium and all of the things and look up where
Hmm.
Bahamut lives and the Celestia hills of whatever, fields of Elysium and all the things.
Hmm.
And that's great. And they'll give you some details. But I also do like they came out with a while ago in 2014. They did Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes,
Hmm.
and it went much more in depth on fiends, devils, and demons. It went over the blood war between the two factions, the two sides. It went over different kinds of archdevils and arch fiends.
Yeah.
It did all of these things that was awesome, and I want the same thing for the upper planes. Not because I am like, oh yes, go Angels, but also just because like I want to know more about them and I want my players to be able to. I want to be able to go there and have a good idea of what they, as in D&D, intends for those planes, so that I
Right.
can make put my mark and do my own thing with them.
Hmm.
Because I like that. I did a ton of research on the plane of Pandemonium,
Hmm.
and we went there as a adventuring party, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And I got to add in a ton of things of my own creation while also paying tribute to some of the older stuff that Pandemonium was based on, like the Howling Winds, having there
Hmm.
be that when you went into that one cavern, in the way that the gravity, like the city was
It,
built on the
yeah, it was
walls of this
wrapped up.
cavern,
Yeah.
and so the gravity always just follows the walls of the cavern, so you can just eventually you'll be upside down, but that's just how gravity works. So like if you
Hmm.
were to throw a ball, it still falls back down to the ground, but that's upwards. It's just like a cool, I was like, oh, that's sick. So I just took that and then made my own things. They've had a name for like a hotel, and I was like, cool, I'll take that and put a little twist on it, and then added my own extra things. It was awesome. And I wish they did that for the upper planes. So that's my little beef with Celestials. Because I think there's so much there. It's so cool. I think planes hopping in general is so fun. It's so easy to do an entire campaign on the material plane because it's just as vast and diverse as Earth is. So there's so much you could potentially do, especially when you incorporate magic into your world in general.
Right.
It's a fantasy world, right? Most of the time. So it's like, damn, there's so much you could do just there. Adding an entire other plane just adds that much more. I think the way we did it in our home campaign is a way that I think that most people should try it, is just like try it for a couple arc, like for an arc, for like a a level or something, or even just like a quick half of a level where you're just going there, grabbing a thing and coming back. Yeah, like it's so worth it. It's so fun. Your players will definitely remember it. And there are planes that people have never even gone to. Like I, as a player, have never been to the Hells or anything. We haven't done anything like that actually in our home game either. And that's something I would like to do, which is why I've been setting up little things for that to eventually happen if you guys would like, because of the fact that the BBEG, and this is one of the ways that I've used types, but we'll move on to the next one because it's important for that. Encounter creation. So now we're talking about world building is a bigger thing. It's a more in-depth not set in stone, but like kind of the backbone of your world. Right. And you're building off of that. The encounter creation is a little more insular. It's a little more temporary and kind of zoomed in, where you're just creating the encounter for this. Hey, they're going to be going from A to B. What's the encounter they have in the thing? Most of the time it's combat, doesn't have to be. But what are the things that they're going to run into that they're going to literally encounter along the way, or in this location, or in this dungeon, or as what's the guards going to be for this prison, blah, 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 whatever. So how can we use monster type to help our kind of ideas here? I mean, starting with construct, because we're sticking with the alphabetical, my favorite. I think construct is an interesting one because it makes me think of two things. The first, which we'll go into more depth because I'm sure you're thinking similarly, is there's the plane of Mechanus, which I know we both love. The other one is the fact that constructs are often created, and therefore there is a creator. And I think that's an interesting thing to do, because I think the concept of that is just very fun and rife for situations and creating backstories of villains, and being like, because I'm so DM mindseted that I'm thinking of villains always. So I'm like, oh, a mad inventor, a tinkerer, an evil gnome who's just like, these are my minions, and they all are just like mechanical beasts.
But we're also talking about animated items too. So like animated armors, animated, like there's
flying swords,
stats for flying swords, animated statues, anything that has that bit of magic, that transmutation, breath of life, quote unquote.
Sorcerer's Apprentice. A little Fantasia about it.
We get a little Fantasia about it. But so I do like the idea of having like a mad scientist type, and like their lair is just full of animated shit. Is really like, if you could do all constructs, you could have a whole dungeon full of just constructs, and you could never use another construct more than once. Like you could use a bunch of different stuff. Like
you could. It's so cool.
You walk in sneak in the door, get inside, and we're in the kitchen. Oh, fuck, the stove and the fucking sink and all the knife blocks, just everything wakes up and starts coming at you. All right, cool. Next room. Oh, look at all these sweet suits of armor. Oh, no, they're all alive.
Gosh, dude. There's a movie called like Maximum Overdrive or something like that, where all the electrical things come to life, dude.
Cars, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like a family carving turkey with like an electric knife. You're like, oh no,
nuts.
Dude, garbage disposal is just going off fucking crazy, bro. But vending machines firing out sodas, cannons.
It's a ridiculous movie. If you've got the time, gang, go watch it.
It's so stupid. But Burned in my memory. So yeah, constructs, there's so much there you could
Truck,
do with. It's a
the
lot
truck
of
with
like
the
yeah.
clown face. Yeah.
Who created the construct? Why are the constructs there? Uh and then you could play with those ideas too. Maybe the creator's no longer around, but the construct is still running. Maybe it's a tragic story and it's not a combat thing at all. It's just a
Yeah.
scared construct working on its last programming. But once the fight starts, it quickly like revert, or you know what I mean? Maybe it has fault. That's another interesting idea. Maybe the inventor is a friendly NPC. The construct's programming has gone awry. You need to not destroy it, save it. And
Right.
that's a fun way. So you could play with the ideas a lot. That's the fun part about tropes is you can lean in and you can lean out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Dragons.
absolutely.
Speaking of
Dragons.
tropes,
Yeah. Tropes,
dragons are
tropes, tropes, tropes.
normally powerful as hell, big as hell, scary as hell.
Who's
That's
dragon?
normally the vibe. Yeah, greedy. They have hordes, all the 9 yards. It's a classic D&D thing because it's in the fucking title. Everyone expects dragons. So I always think it's good to, if you're doing a very long campaign, I think you almost owe it to yourself to be like, we throw in a dragon.
Right. Right.
Unless this world's lore is like, there are no dragons left.
Mhm.
Maybe. But even then, I think you should
Even then,
throw it
I
in and
think
be
you
like, the
should have
last dragon.
one,
Yeah,
like an undead lich dragon at the end of the campaign or some shit.
something.
Yeah.
But using dragons as the category and trying to
Mhm.
think about how to create encounters using those other than the obvious combat ones, I think with like whatever. I think the thing I harp on with dragons is how easy it is to come up with encounters because of how much information there is, even in the just monster manual or
Yeah.
Googling or the wikis or whatever, about their layers,
Hmm.
where they're
Hmm.
normally found,
Hmm.
at least.
Hmm.
So that anytime you're in a different kind of environment, there is a dragon that pertains to that if you're going by the lore. Of course, you can throw a blue dragon fucking anywhere. It doesn't need to be in a desert, sandy environment, but that's where it could be also.
Hmm.
Black dragons have a swim speed because they can be found in swamps and watery areas. So it's like you don't have to do that, but there's a reason the stat blocks reflect some of this lore stuff.
Right.
I also think on the other side, in terms of encounters, throw some friendly dragons in there. Throw some
Yeah.
you
There
know what
are good
we talked about
dragons.
too, the polymorphing of it all.
Uh-huh.
It's not polymorphing, but you know what I mean. The
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 shape
shape
changing of it all.
changing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Meeting the
Especially
dragon
the
in their
the
human
more
form,
tricky
not
ones.
knowing it's a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do it both ways. You could do it as a
A
enemy
good or
antagonist.
a
You could do it
bad.
as a
Yeah.
friend.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
think both of those reveals are a lot of fun of like, oh, this person's been helping us for so long. You know, let's go and oh shit, we're under attack. The whole city's under siege. Okay, well, we have to protect this guy. And the guy's like, no, actually, he turns into a giant ancient dragon.
Like The Witcher.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna protect you. Yeah.
That was the crazy part about watching that episode in The Witcher.
Mm,
Was I eventually read the short stories that led to many of the episodes.
right.
But before that, the Witcher, all I knew was a TV show. Get to that episode, spoilers, where the dude is a dragon.
Yeah.
And because of D&D, spotted that shit from a mile away. I was like, this motherfucker's a dragon, dude. This motherfucker's a dragon, dude. That's why he wants this shit, dude. He's more powerful than he's letting on.
Yeah.
All that shit.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
knew it.
And
And
that's
so
a fun trope to play either way. Or, you know, the backstabbing of it all of being like, oh, this thing is or this person has been, you know, pretending to be our friend. Now we're in this secluded area. Oh fuck, it's an ancient black dragon. We're jacked.
we're fucked. Yeah, we're
The
fucked. So then moving on, we
passing
have
chat.
elemental. We have the elementals.
Yep.
For encounter building, I mean, this one is another one where you can focus on the environment and choose the elemental based on where your party already kind of is going or is. You can
Mhm.
also you can do an entire fucking setting and world building and campaign building around elementals because
Yeah.
the elemental planes are so evocative just by their very basis without that's another one where it's like how much do you know truly without looking it up? How much can you really say about the elemental plane of Earth?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like When
Yeah,
I
yeah,
need
yeah.
them to come out with a little bit more. Like I get that it's lots of
It's
deserts and mountains and
deserts and
quicksands, and
rocks
I get
and
it. I get
yeah,
it. And
yeah, yeah,
mud
yeah.
pits, I guess. I
Can
get
I
it.
can I
But
get
like,
like a distinctive crater or
give
a
me a couple
single,
town names.
yeah,
Give me some
something.
inhabitants in term that aren't just earth elementals. I get that they live
Right.
there. I know
Right,
that the
right, right.
rock folk are all about it. Geodude is holding his own, but I
Uh
need to know more. Geodude. I need to know more. Onyx.
yeah.
So I do think elementals are so fun
I
because I have a lot of fun thinking about the elemental planes, and I like to incorporate some like kind of low-key modern stuff into it, the way that I did with the Shadowfell and the Western town that kind of made a little bit no sense.
mhm.
uh with those planes, I do immediately think of like, okay, what would a city look like? What would be commerce there? What is
Right.
interesting about the plane of the Earth plane? What can I use as elementals and other things? Because I don't want everything to be an elemental. I
Exactly.
think
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
boring.
Don't want to get burned out on
Right.
elementals.
So if I'm doing the plane of Earth, because of course there's going to be a desert,
Hmm.
maybe there's a mummy lord. That's an undead. So like there's a little bit of pulling them
Yeah.
into where you're gonna
Yeah,
use
yeah,
other
yeah.
monster types as well. But of course, there's going to be earth elementals scattered
Hmm.
about, and you can look at the individual monsters and focus on some of those things so that you can get ideas. For example, there's an earth elemental called a Korred, Korred. It was
Okay.
introduced in either Volos or I think Volos, but either that or Mordenkainen's in 2014 edition. And it's an earth elemental. It's this like little gremlin looking dude who has like long black dread hair, kind of.
Hmm.
And it's like supposed to be as tough as wires, and he can like use it almost like tentacles and whips or whatever and grab people and things. But he's like super protective of like gems.
Hmm.
Like if he's in a room with gems and stuff like that, and people come in and start trying to steal them or trying to take them or damage them or in some way, or like chipping away at the rock in order to get to them, they get pissed off.
You tried to drop one of those on us.
Absolutely, and it's a temptation thing, and that's why
Uh-huh.
that's my point. Is it
Yeah.
was an incredible encounter.
Hmm.
Here's this guy. He's doing a little music. He's chilling. He's just having a good time. Here's this room that the party enters in the dungeon, and there's just gems embedded in the walls, and there's pickaxes just leaning up against the walls like, hey, help yourself. There's not a sign, but it's like
Right.
figuratively like help yourself.
Right, right, right.
Meanwhile, this monster is just kind of like, hey guys, what's up? All right. And there's a huge earth elemental next to him, and he's just chilling, and the earth elemental's kind of nodding along to the music.
Mm.
And the way it was set up was like the second you guys chip away at the wall, attack, roll for initiative.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, and you guys didn't take the bait.
Mm-mm.
Saw right through it. Also, there was a level of urgency because you were chasing a guy, I think.
We were chasing somebody. There
Or no, you
was,
were trying to make it to a meeting in a timely
yeah.
manner. That was on your way to the meeting of the Golden Circle
Yes, 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 yes. Because we were also
underneath Waterdeep.
that's the same one where I got almost dropped in the pit because of guidance. That's the one with the gelatinous
Mm-hmm.
cube trap.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Exactly.
Mhm.
So that was a lot of fun. When I'm creating this dungeon underground, I think of dungeons as just a series of encounters. Each chamber and or hallway presents itself another opportunity for an encounter.
Mhm.
Sometimes the hallways there aren't encounters and they're just passageways, but sometimes there's a trap, there's a monster, who knows. But the chambers are usually different kinds of encounters. And because of my own, maybe it's ADHD or whatever it is, but like unless the theming of that dungeon is based on a monster type, I want it to feel like a lot of different things. But I also want it to
Right.
make sense. But so that like did it make 100% sense that there's just this little cavern full of gems in the middle of a sewer system dungeon, and there's this earth elemental chilling in there just like
Yep.
waiting for people to fuck it up? No, of course that doesn't make a ton of sense. Did it make sense at the time and fit the story and kind of work
Mhm.
in a way that was just, oh, this is an interesting encounter, and we're going to ignore it because we're smarter than that and we're going to pass through? It was fine. It was great. It did
Yeah.
its job. The
Yeah.
players, you know, interacted a way that didn't initiate things, but that's kind of how it went. They were either going to or not to, and they 50
Right.
50. So it is what it is.
Mhm.
But so that's enough about elementals. Ton there to draw from for encounter building,
Yeah.
whether it's water elementals, all different kinds of stuff. But then Fae. Now,
Fae.
Fae are
There's
interesting.
so much you can do with Fae.
Fae are really interesting. If you're using Fae, when I think of Fae, one of the characteristics I think of is charm stuff
Hmm.
and like trickery stuff, whether that's
Yeah.
illusion, enchantment, magic, which is more charm stuff. But yeah, it's like illusion, enchantment vibes is like a
Yeah.
stereotype I think of. Obviously, that
The
doesn't apply to every
the
Fae,
other one that
but
I really think of, like the other kind of trope, is the adherence to the letter, not the spirit of what they're saying.
mm,
Um,
I get you.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
a
yeah,
monkey's
yeah.
paw situation.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So having, so that kind of double speak, if you're having a conversation with them, that kind of, this is what they're saying, but really, like, can I can I get your name? Super innocuous question at first, but if you do, then they have your actual name. Like they got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Can I
got
have your name? Yeah.
yeah, like not
I would
not
like
just,
to have
it's
you
not
for
like I
dinner.
got your nose. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Instead of I got your nose, I got your name, and we're running away with it.
For
Um,
sure.
which is a very interesting, actually, kind of a character thing, is having a character who goes by like a nickname because their name was stolen by the Fae.
Yeah. And they're
And
trying to get
so,
it back.
mhm,
That could be really, really fun. Um, I do think for encounters with Fae, I do think of other than just strictly using the Feywild.
mhm,
Obviously, you can do millions of encounters in the Feywild for the sake of using Fey monsters. That's a very easy one.
right.
But I also think of on the side of things like combat and villains and stuff, you have hags, you have evil archfey, you have like really opportunistic things that are maybe vying for power. You have maybe the complicated political structure between the Seelie and the Unseelie court that you can draw
Mhm,
on for
mhm.
inspiration. We one time did a court case because of just the play on words of the Unseelie
Some,
court
yeah,
and treating it like a SVU episode or like a Law and Order episode.
yeah.
And then you can also draw on hags is a really easy one to pull from.
Mhm,
They're really powerful creatures. Like I mean, Tasha's is tied into the Feywild big time because Tasha is sometimes referred to as like the daughter of Baba Yaga. Like she was raised by Baba Yaga, Tasha, the
mhm.
one who created all those spells. So there's
Yeah.
like lore and stuff there you can pull from. I also think
Bullywugs.
of the Fae from say it one more time.
Bullywugs.
Bullywugs. Are they Fae?
Bullywugs are Fae.
Whoa, is that a
Absolutely,
2024
bullywugs are Fae.
thing?
I think it might be. Uh,
That's really
uh,
funny.
yeah.
I love that.
The frog people.
That's hilarious. I also think of Fae when I think of kind of a like harmless encounter. Like a one that is like combat in the most traditional of senses, like there
Right.
will be initiative and shit, but where I'm like, this is almost just like people playing pranks.
Hmm.
Like a bunch of pixies are gonna cast polymorph on your group and start turning you into weasels and dumb shit because it's funny. And then they're
Right.
just gonna run away. They're not even gonna do anything. Like
Right,
they're
right,
not
right.
here to kill you. Like they were just having fun. I also think that a lot of times, like stat block wise, if you're going by like just monster manual, most of the time, man, for Fae, you got to go low level. I feel like if you're going monster manual, not third party, not like
Mm-hmm.
specific editions and stuff, like what's the most powerful Fae that are in some of these textbooks? Like unless it's a an edition, like a module. The adventure module ones have really powerful Fae.
Yeah.
But then if you're looking like
That's
just
crazy. I'd
straight
never
up,
really thought about it. I'm looking at it, and every single one of these is like Mordenkainen. There's a dire warg at 10 CR, but most of the
yeah.
stuff is Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, Book of Many Things, Volos, and even that's not really.
Yeah, they don't go that high. It's really
Mhm.
interesting. But that's why I highly recommend Tome of Foes, Cobalt Press for so fucking much.
Mhm.
Those three editions, Tome of Beasts, or excuse me, yeah, Tome of Beasts. Tome of Beasts 1, 2, and 3. Holy shit, so many monsters, so much cool stuff to add into all of the categories of monsters,
Mhm.
including Fae, because they have Archfey stat blocks. And that's fucking sick. All three of them have Archfey stat blocks, and I've used them, and they're amazing because they run the gamut of like a whimsical Fae that you're like, yeah, that's a beautiful Fae creature that's like alien practically. And then they
Mhm.
also have like the Bear King, which is just like a huge stout guy who just
Mhm.
looks like Robert Baratheon, but bear
Mhm.
coated instead of boar coated. And he's a
Yeah.
Fae, and it's like, that's
Yeah.
sick. So much there for encounters. I love it for tricky stuff or pranks. It can be really fun for a silly encounter.
Mhm.
Um, and then if you want to go real deep into like, you can also go deep into Fae and go creepy, like Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland vibes, you know? Because
Yeah.
like I'll tell you, dude, the way Daniel the DM played the Archfey patron, bro, it was terrifying. And his name was Mirth Wanderlust. Like what a
Yeah.
disarming name.
Right, right,
And
right.
then the way he played him was like he looked like the Shikigami from Death Note,
Oh God. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
kind of.
Yeah,
Except
yeah,
he was
yeah.
wearing like a beautiful like three-piece suit that was like really colorful. He looked like a 70s game show host in terms of his dress, but
Mhm.
then like in terms of his body is like really sharp teeth and just like long ass arms and extra knuckles and dumb shit. You're like,
Right.
oh God.
Mhm.
So our last two, we got lore dropping is the next like category that you can use for monster types.
Yeah.
Millions of different ways to use this shit. I mean, everything from just players are going to ask for checks. They're going to ask for information. They're going to be doing research on their next monster. On, hey,
Mhm.
we know we have to go after this vampire. We know we have to go after this dragon, this fiend. I'm going to do research. That's going to happen millions of times. Or they're
Right.
going to like in the middle of combat, they'll say, what do I know about this kind of ooze? Or they'll say, um, after the fight is over, they'll go, hey, what can I learn from this creature we just killed? So there's going to be millions of intelligence based checks, right? Throughout D&D.
Mhm.
Monster types is a thing that for me helps me so much with that lore dropping. So, for example, using fiends, staying in the alphabet, fiends, right off the bat, I'm going to be able to tell them about the difference between devils and demons. That's an
Right.
easy one. For, especially like I'm thinking like if you're low level too, like this is like rife stuff where people are like, "Hey, what is this monster? What's going on here?" Blah 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 blah. Then it's very quickly just like, okay, well, you know that this is a devil because it's got this kind of infernal rune on it. And you know that infernal and abyssal are two different languages, one for the
Mhm.
devils, one for the demons. Those are two distinct types of fiends.
Right.
And because you rolled a 15, that's all you get. And then you can go into great. Oh, you got a 20? There's this thing called the Blood War. Those two like species of creatures are like they fucking hate each other. You know, blah blah blah. Oh, you got a 25. Asmodeus is the king of the devils. Like you could just keep building onto stuff about fiends in general, very
Mhm.
vague stuff that you know. Or it could be something, oh, you're going up against a giant. Okay, you're going up against frost giants. Well, they live in Arctic conditions normally.
Mhm.
They're immune to cold damage. Like these are things that your players could research that you can help them
Right.
with. They speak giant. So does anyone in the party speak giant? No. That could be helpful maybe. Uh
Tribal
okay.
nomads. They're stuff like that of,
Yeah, or
kind
the
of like the
different types
hierarchy, what different
of
types of.
giants. Yeah,
Mhm.
the cloud giants are considered a little bit stronger and more powerful than let's say a hill giant or whatever.
Right.
So there's different things you can do with that. Humanoids, obviously, you have to break it down further into like its more specific parts. So you have to
Mhm.
kind of be like, if you're talking about goblins, you got to talk about goblins. If you're talking about gnolls, you got to talk about gnolls.
Right,
Talking
right,
about
right.
humanoids in a general sense, not super
It's
helpful
yeah.
unless, yeah, the setting has to be like really
Mhm.
specific for that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Monstrosities have a lot of lore that you could tack onto them, though. Especially, when it comes to like how they came to be, because it is like that catch-all chimera type class.
yeah,
It could be, oh, well, this crazy scientist was trying to fused DNA and came up with this crazy creature, or some
Mm-hmm,
alien
mm-hmm.
came down and zapped a cow and now it looks like this. Like,
Yeah, there's so much there. I do think it's similar to humanoids where you kind of have to zoom in a little bit
mm-hmm.
just because
Oh
it's
yeah,
such a
definitely,
catch-all. Like it's
definitely.
hard to make generalizations about the whole category the way that you can with Fiend. Like with
Hmm.
Fiend, you can kind of be like, hey, most of them are evil.
Hmm. Hmm.
Giants, most of them are big. But humanoids and monstrosities, humanoids, you can kind of be like, most of them are bipedal.
Yeah.
But like monstrosities, you're kind of like, fuck, man. Some of them have human faces and they can
Hmm.
fly, and other
Yep.
ones look nothing like that.
Yeah.
They're
And
all over the place, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is a harder
It,
category.
it,
But
it
once you go in depth, you can go,
but
okay,
you
you
can
guys are
go
hunting
very in.
manticores. Here's some shit about manticores.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
when you
You
have to
can
delve a
really
little bit
drill into
deeper.
that one specific
If
monstrosity.
you were going monstrosities on a grander scale, the first thing I would think of is more like monster hunters, like an
Mm.
organization,
Hmm.
bounty hunters, and the like
Yeah.
getting harvesting like body parts and shit, the
Hmm.
way that you might
Displacer
maybe
beast, tentacles and stuff like that.
shit like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. The hide of a hydra, whatever.
Hmm. Yeah.
Manticore quills. I don't know. Fill in the blank.
Fill in the, but
So
yeah,
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 there's so many different ways to use the lore from these monsters, even as vague as the type of monster. And then you can go more in depth and look at the specifics of, what
yeah.
makes an ice devil more unique than a barbed devil or a fucking beard devil or noun devil, whatever. Fucking so stupid. Spider Man. Like fucking what are we doing?
Right.
Uh and then there's backstory. So
Yeah.
obviously, players can use this as well when it comes to creating their own backstory because they can come up
Mm-hmm.
with a character who hates this type of monster because they hurt their family. They can come up
Mm-hmm.
with a kind of backstory of I'm fascinated by the Fae and I want to learn everything there is to know about it because
Mm-hmm.
of this reason or what have you. Maybe they work closely alongside this type of thing. But DMs can do the same thing with the backstories of like locations,
Mm-hmm.
stores and shops, and NPCs, as well as villains, of course.
Yeah.
So, oozes, for example, if you were going to make an NPC that was like, for some way, shape, or form, they're connected to oozes as a
Mm-hmm.
monster type.
Yeah.
How do you do that with an NPC? It doesn't need to be a
Um,
villain, but it can be.
no, okay. Honestly, the first thought that came to mind was like a shop owner that somehow lost some swords or something to a ooze on the road, and oh
Mm.
geez, an ooze came up and stole my whole shipment. Bang, here's a plot hook.
There's an
Go
ooze
find
on
the
the
ooze.
road.
There's news on the road somewhere. Go find it.
Yeah,
Or, the other more traumatic thing is, oh shit, an ooze ate my family.
classic.
Could be classic tragic backstory. Um,
Tragic ooze, you could do an NPC that has a pet ooze that no one understands. And he's like, no, no, no. He's a good guy. You gotta trust me. He's a good
mhm.
guy. And he's just an ooze, and that's just like his best friend. That's like a funny NPC detail of just having a guy who has an ooze. And then like plants are rife with shit. I mean, you could do so many druid things, nature things, elves that live in the forest. Like, what is that town in Lord of the Rings? Galondriel or some shit like that. The place that Frodo and them stop at where they meet Galadriel.
Glorfindel.
Glorfindel. Yes, perfect. There's that place. All
Hmm.
kinds of things you can do with plants, right? There's so many
Yeah.
things, ways you can tie that into your backstory, of just like knowing plants or being close to. Because again, plants as a monster type is different than just plants in general.
Right.
Like, I'm suppose it would help with speak with plants, but like, no, it is interesting. And then undead is an easy one because undead has such a negative connotation in terms of being evil, being dark, being shadowy, having some connections to death and undeath, and therefore breaking the circle of life and
Yeah.
being abnormal or immoral, who knows? And so undead is an easy one to connect to your backstory in a typical negative fashion. I
Hmm.
think it's more challenging and more interesting to me to do it and try and find a different way of doing
A
it,
good,
of a
yeah,
positive connection,
yeah,
or
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I don't know, like just trying to
So I,
tweak it enough to make it not
yeah,
just undead killed my family.
right. So I think that the most recent Resident Evil has a interesting take on undeath that I liked of this doctor who is very, very obviously afflicted with T virus and could possibly be actually dead and reanimated or something like that. But rather than have him be the big bad, he is just a doctor who heals people. He's a zombie doctor.
Hmm.
So he's undead technically in the very strictest sense of the word, but rather than like doing harm to people, he is actually a librarian or again like a doctor or some kind of
Absolutely.
leader of the community, like a pillar of the community that at first, and then the townspeople all kind of just accept him as one of theirs because oh yeah, at first we were a little freaked out, but he
But
helped
now
us
we know
build.
the
Yeah,
real
he helped us
him.
build the church, like like.
Praise me. I love that. I think that that's true in a lot of circumstances. That happens in our Pathfinder home game.
Mhm.
There's a whole city of undead
Okay.
that we have become close with to the point where we know their sign language because a lot of the skeletons there don't speak.
Right. Okay.
Um, because they need to be
Naturally,
like
no
powerful
lungs.
enough.
Right.
It's not even that because that was our thought as well at first too, because a lot of them didn't speak at first, and then we
Mhm.
met a couple that did speak. And so
Oh,
it's not vocal cord thing or lungs or anything or
gotcha.
diaphragm and all that shit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a level of like power, bunny
Hmm.
ears. And so undead is a lot of fun because yeah, if you go positive ways for it, it can be really interesting. You can also go like interesting ways of like cusping the line between evil and good. For
Hmm.
example, kind of like Death Note vibes of having this like spirit over you, or like
Right.
the character Yuta from Jujutsu Kaisen with Rika, the
Hmm.
giant like evil girl spirit
Hmm.
from his like dead friend.
Yeah.
I did a encounter like that to bring it back to encounters, and then this episode is pretty much wrapped.
Hmm.
Um, there was you guys were walking along the road. It was one of those traveling encounters of just like a quick encounter that's meaningless. You could easily bypass it, and you guys did end up bypassing it pretty
Hmm.
much, and not interacting with it in the way that could have led to combat potentially. And that was um what's it called? It was a little girl traveling on the road, and she is just walking along, and she's by herself, and she's like 7 years old. So naturally your group is like, what are you doing out here? Like, where
Hmm.
is your mother? Like, typical, you guys are just like good people, adventurers. So you see a little
Right.
girl and you're like, who's with you? Like, why are you alone? What the fuck is going on? And she's like, you guys ask those questions, and she's like, no, 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 I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good. Don't even worry about it. And
Do you remember this?
had you
Yeah.
guys tried to stop her
Hmm.
or like put a hand on her, not even in a violent way, but just
Yeah.
literally being like, hold on, little girl, like let's help you out, figure out where you're supposed to go, blah, blah, blah. Any of that, and it would have fucked things up because she actually was connected to there's a monster called a bone claw
Ha!
that came out in Mordenkainen's
God damn. Yeah.
Helm of Foes or something like
Uh-huh.
that. And it's a creature that just connects itself to a child who's experienced trauma of some kind.
Mhm.
Like, or it usually connects to like orphans and stuff. And then it like protects them to a level of like, oh, they got bullied. I'm gonna kill that bully.
The
I'm
bully's
gonna
dead
rip
now.
that bully's head off,
Right.
literally. And so that's what that was. And that was just like a funny little idea of like, man, I just think that's so fun, and I really want
Hmm.
to I want that to be real. And luckily you guys just let her go by there. You guys were like, there's something here.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You can go, little girl.
It's
Good luck.
it you can go, scary girl. You can go.
Good luck traveling on your own. And with that, we're ending their episode with our
Hmm.
newest segment, Monster of the Week.
Monster of the
Taylor, you're
week.
Swedish.
I am ish. A
Name
couple.
5 Swedish cryptids right now. Just kidding. I looked one up. I got one here, and wait till you hear me pronounce it, because I'm going to nail this.
I believe you.
And I've never said this word out loud before. Let me be clear. Ready for this?
Let's go.
Storjudret. 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 So it's STORSJ O umlaut O no umlaut DJURET.
Wow. Okay.
Did I
Yeah.
lose you along the way somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
imagine
absolutely
saying it.
did.
So Storjudret is literally the Great Lake Monster. It is a lake monster that is apparently living in the middle of Sweden in Lake Storjon in Jämtland. I'm nailing it, dude. The Swedes are going to be all over this episode. So the lake monster in 1635, there was a manuscript, and that was the first time that this sea serpent was alleged to be there. And then it was said to be there magically. It was bound. I don't know if you knew this.
Gotcha.
So the man who brought runes to humankind by stealing rune staffs from Odin. Have you ever heard of him? His name's Kettle Runsky. Kettle Runsky, I'll tell you what, he bound this creature to the lake, okay? Now, fun little detail. Later on, folk legends change as they do over the years, especially ones that are centuries old. Now, sometimes, hey, that monster, it's actually a product of tinkering by two trolls.
Sure.
And it has a cat head with a black serpentine body. Numerous eyewitness accounts since the 19th century giving varying details, some claiming, no, not a cat head, dog head. And so you got to ask yourself, Taylor, is Storjudret real?
Okay, so the J is almost always a Y in Sweden. So
okay, let's do it. Storjudret.
We'll go with that.
Okay. Well, gang, that's our monster of the week.
Yeah, that's the monster. Anyway, that's all we can get into this time. You can find I got way into the pronunciation of that. You can find us on TikTok and Instagram at So You Want to Be a DM, or you can ask us a question at So You Want to Be a DM at gmail.com. If you like the episode, don't forget to give us 5 stars and a review wherever you found us, and check out the Patreon, the Twitch, and our merch with the link in the description. Join us next time for more Dungeon Master tips and tricks.
Bye. See ya. Hey gang, it's Justin. I have the honor of giving a shout out to the members of our Patreon gang. Nub Muffins, may Palor's light shine upon you. Marsavies, have you watered your flesh prison lately? Yazvi, the eternal library where color and community await you. Molly Adeza, who gets yet another level up. And there's Elijah, Tappy, and Linguini. Gang, we appreciate and love you. Tune in next time for more tips and tricks from So You Want to Be a DM.